entire family. Drawing more than 20,000 visitors each year, it's one of the largest and most popular events in South Central Oklahoma.
Order for the regular scheduled meeting of the Durant Industrial Authority on June 7th, 2022. And I'll do the invocation. Father, thank you for allowing us to be here together to discuss the matters at hand. Lord, I thank you for each and every person that's here. Help us to make wise decisions for the city of Durant. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Okay, roll call, please.
Trustee Edwin Booth.
Here.
Trustee Steve Brittingham.
Here.
Trustee Mike Davis, absent. Trustee Grace Rudolph, absent. Trustee Jeff Shattuck.
Here.
Vice Chairman Brett Rogers, absent. Chairman Jeff Hammock.
Here. We have a quorum. Next item on the agenda is the consent items. As you can see in items 1A, 1B, and 1C, consider approval of meeting minutes from May 3rd, 2022. Item B is consider approval of meeting minutes of special meeting for May 10th, 2022, and 1C is consider approval of meeting minutes of special meeting held May 16th, 2022.
I make a motion that we approve consent items A, B, and C. Second.
Have a motion and a second.
Who initiated it?
Jeff Shattuck made the motion.
Sorry.
It's fine.
And who second?
I did.
Steve. You want to just initiate a voice call on this one?
Okay, because it's not letting me do anything.
Okay.
Edwin Booth.
Yes.
Steve Brittingham.
Aye.
Jeff Hammock.
Yes.
Jeff Shattuck.
Yes.
Okay. Item 1A, B, and C all pass. Next item on the agenda is consider items removed from consent, which there were none. Item number 3 is information items, and that's Item 3A is Executive Director's Report. Lisa, you have the floor.
So you have a printed report there. I'm just going to give a couple of other updates. Project Bison, we conducted their site visit. You may remember this is the project that went from a 3-state search down to Durant being one of the finalists in that. And we did have our site visit virtually. They had a couple of members of their team that came down with COVID last minute. The only concern that they left with, that they stated, was that mitigation of that water or going through that 404 process would take about a year's time. So they were a little concerned about the risk associated with that. However, they were in contact with us as recently as last Thursday, gaining more information about the site. So we're still, as far as I know, we're still kind of in the running for that. Mead and Hunt, you remember we did sign contract and hire them last month to come out and help start the 404 process for us on that property. They are in Durant. They got here yesterday morning and they will be here until late tomorrow doing a site visit. So. Striper Golf event, I left you all a flyer there. You see the event tomorrow night is open to you all if you want to come, if you can. It's a great opportunity to interact with our local partners from the region, from the state, and also meet the guests of the event. We have several site selection consultants coming in and representatives of various businesses. So, and our boot camp started yesterday. And we had 14 participants for that, and I've been hearing really good feedback from it so far. Small Business Development Center they are teaching the classes along with help from REI's Women's Center and Choctaw Nation. So hopefully that'll continue to go well. I think that's all I have.
Okay. All right.
Unless you have questions.
Any questions for Lisa on 3A? Next item under 3 is 3B is the April 2022 020 and 110 financials. Mr. Shattuck, you want to just give us a brief summary?
Kind of looking through it, that initial page looks like maybe 18. Shows your balances, Fund 110, Fund 020. I've got some questions on that, because I don't believe the balance on 020 is really $2,276,811. I think that's somehow the accounting, the city accounting plays into that sum. So I'm curious on that number, but don't have a good answer for what that entails. As you can tell, 020 has, another question I have is revenues of $2,378,000 as of 4/30. We don't have revenues in that account. So again, I think that's money coming over from the sales tax or the tax, our revenue stream. I don't know how that works in that. So again, a skewed number for me, but net position $702,000 for the year. As I'm not quite sure how that works. So I may have more questions than everybody here. If you go to the next pages, of course, you show. You can get down there. I think the checking account's there with First United 600 and whatever that was. I went past it. Again, city accounting, and so I just lost it. So, any questions? Anybody have anything for me?
Any questions about the financials? Again, it's been moved. It's just an informational item.
Looks like the format changed also. So I don't know if that was this month or last month, but some of that has changed with the city. So the way they're handling our.
I'm just going to add really quickly that it might be a good time, because a lot of people don't realize this. The city handles all of the funds for the Durant Industrial Authority. So, we have that sales tax account. We have the 020 account, which is the operating funds that we've gained over the years. And then there's pooled cash and all of this. So like Jeff said, it is kind of confusing for us, but we depend on the finance department from the city for all of our accounting purposes. So Anshin is out this week, to my understanding. So, but I believe the amounts that Jeff was talking about, that seems somewhat inflated in the O2O account. If you remember, we sold a piece of property recently. That money will, my understanding, will go back into the sales tax account, but we can't directly deposit money into that. So I think it has to go into the O2O account, and then there's pooled cash, and it gets there eventually.
Okay.
And then the real estate funds from, we budgeted that money to purchase real estate. I think that's the other reason that our O2O account seems inflated, because in reality, I think we only have somewhere around $650,000 in the O2O. The rest of that, I believe, is sales tax, so.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Okay, let's move on to item number 4, it's administration. 4A is discuss, consider, and possible action on entering into a contract for services to assist with the 404 permit process for a 20-acre site owned by the Durant Industrial Authority, and Lisa will discuss that.
Yeah, so after we had the discovery of our property out at the West Industrial Park, that there was core water on the property, I looked at maps of our other properties and found a significant amount of water on our property located next to UPS on Country Club Drive. And I sent that over to Brandon Wall and his team. They looked at it and did discover that all of the water on there is Blue Line Stream, Corps of Engineers water. And so I reached out to Mead & Hunt, who is doing the other process for us. They have submitted a proposal to start working through that process for us. You'll see that the amount was a little over $34,000, less than half of what the other bid was, and that has to do with the fact that we don't have a project pending for the site, so we can't actually enter into the 404 application process until we have a proposed project for the site. So they will do all of the work up to that point for this $34,000, I think it's $34,412. This would, we can hold off until we have a proposed project and do it all at once. The problem is, just like with Bison right now, we've pitched the site, they like the site, and it's going to be at least a year going through this process, and that's a lot of risk on them. We may lose the project ultimately because of that. By entering the discovery process of this now, we can maybe shave a few months off of the process. But again, until we have a project for the site, we can't actually submit an application for the 404 permit process.
If they do the work up to that point in time, and does that work, is it indefinite? There's not a time frame or a limitation on that, that it would end, we'd have to redo it?
No, it's my understanding that, and I apologize, Brandon was not able to be here today. It's my understanding that the work would be done and it would be good. So when we finally do get a project, we can start the process. And the 404 permit process has a lot of like public hearing, public comment period, things like that, and that's what takes the longest amount of time. So
that's my only concern, is that there's
Yeah.
some type of expiration based on the work that Mead & Hunt would do
right,
from that time to the time we actually get a
Understand
project. So
right, right.
other than that, I think it's good to move forward. It's an obvious ditch and a
Yeah.
water issue out there, but I don't know, do we need to wait until Brandon can clarify that, or do we need to go ahead and vote contingent upon, or,
I think,
thoughts?
I agree with you, we could do it contingent, let Lisa and Brandon discuss it possibly.
And I do have some interest in the property at this point, which, they may not want to wait a year, but there is interest, so.
And I know each property is a little bit different, but the process is the same. We have different, so.
It's my understanding the process is the same.
So we can
and-
figure out, we'll know what the time frame is, because we'll have really
Correct.
2 properties going on simultaneously.
Correct, yes. And there is a significant amount of water. I don't know if any of you all had the opportunity to look at the maps. There's a significant amount of water on this property. It runs, the creek runs through from one end of the property all the way through to the other end, and there's a deep pond in the middle. So, this property did appraise for $250,000 just end of last year. I think we had that appraised. So this would be, you know, additional expense that we have on the property. I don't know what else y'all want to know. Other questions?
Do I have any other questions? And there's a picture of the property. See that creek kind of meanders, kind of starting in the middle and then flows down from the east down to the southwest corner.
I think the contingency in it would be,
Yeah.
we had a discussion earlier, and that's what I'm kind of sitting on the fence about that at this time. If you all wanted to table, I'm fine with that, till we can get some more information.
Maybe if we table it till next time,
Okay.
because my thought is, you know, if Brandon's here, we can actually have a discussion.
Yes.
Because I know he talked about with the other blue line, I mean,
Yes.
it wasn't really anything there. In my understanding, we can kind of, you know, cover it up and
Yep.
do
Um,
some rerouting. This is pretty substantial. I just don't know how much covering and
Correct.
rerouting we could do. I'd rather
Correct.
hear from him. I mean,
Yes.
it's 30 days to,
Yeah, and I'd be fine
Yeah.
with that. We're just talking a month, so,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that would be fine.
whatever you want to do.
Any other questions? Any other thoughts on this?
Nope.
So the feeling is to table and let Lisa visit with Brandon further, bring it back up next month, or approve it subject to, or make a motion for Lisa to visit with Brandon. And then if there is a problem, bring it back to us.
I'm
What's
good
your-
either way. I mean, honestly, I don't know that 30 days is really gonna matter. I just wanted to make sure that we got it on here and started talking about it as soon as possible. I just found this out last week, got the proposal, late Friday, so.
I'd
just
like to
wanted
hear from Brandon,
Yeah,
because I'd
Okay.
kind of like an idea what this is eventually going to cost too,
Yeah.
just so we have that, somewhat of an idea.
yeah. And if you remember the amount that we were told on moving the water, kind of the estimate he had given us on that other property for moving, that little bit of water was like $1.9 million in dirt work. So, of course, that property's significantly, it's twice the size of this one, but, so. It's on here so we could talk about it, in other words.
Good. So the feeling is we just want to table this till next month. Is that correct? Okay.
And the next item it's directly related to this as well, so it's the expenditure of the funds for it, so if you're tabling one.
Yeah.
Okay, with that information at hand, items 4A and 4B, as Lisa shared with us, they go hand in hand. That would be the expenditure of the funds related to 4A. We will table both of those items, 4A and 4B, till next month's meeting, and allow Lisa to visit with Brandon Wall to get more information and bring it back to the authority. Next item on the agenda is executive session. We have none. And item number 6 is new business. Any new business to come before the authority today? Lisa? None? Okay, we have none. Need a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Are we able to vote electronically, or do we need to?
No, I think
Okay.
I got it. Did it go on your guys' side?
Motion's approved. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Yes. Leave join. Well,